Okay. I think I did the things. Hopefully we did. Oh, right. That's what I needed to do. Hold on 1 second. Sun's kind of out. Kind of. And I need a yarn color here. I guess we'll go with this one. We have to add a new color to the mix for today. Forgot about that. All right. Okay, it is Sunday. It is Art Sunday, to be precise. Gonna get some work done on this bad boy today, or at least that's what we'd like to do. I don't know how far we're gonna get. Hope everyone had a good weekend. I know it's not quite over, but I hope it was good all the same. These. I thought there was something else I was gonna do real super quick, and now I'm not sure what that was. Oh, right. That's what it was. So when we last left off on this, well, first of all, let's do a quick recap here. So we are following along with season 3 of The Joy of Painting with Bob Ross. We've done that before. The twist on it is that we are, sorry, I'm seeing if I have enough of this color. I don't know if I do. We could do a mixture of the two if we really need to. The twist is that we're doing it with needle felting instead of paint. We've done the paint before. So we're trying to do season 3 of The Joy of Painting. So one of the earlier seasons. There is the link to this tutorial in full since I don't have, I have the tutorial muted. And a lot of the time it is paused. So there's the full link to it on YouTube. And last week when we left off, I believe it was last Sunday, this week has felt like a month, we got in our river color. Today we're going to be working over here. And like I said, I've had to make some adjustments on this one because of the color palette he's using and how he's using the liquid white, magic white, whatever the heck we're calling it, to blend what he's doing. So he's got one shade on the palette and it looks entirely different after he puts it down. So we can't really do that with this. So I've had to make some color adjustments. And, you know, we're figuring out, I don't know what happened over here, this side, it doesn't look like it on the camera, but this side's like kind of bowed out here. I don't know why. We might have to straighten that up with some scissors when we go to trim that. I also need to pick up a couple of split dowels. I forgot to check the hardware store close to us when we were in there last week to see if they had them or to see if I have to go to Lowe's to get them. But yeah, it would be easier if I could just use regular dowels, but it might look funny if it's regular. I think I need the flat side on the one side, and I don't have any for how we're gonna hang this one. I was thinking of actually just getting some rustic sticks from outside, but I don't know if that's gonna work, so yeah. I don't know. Well, it would be cheap. It would be free. Because they're just in the backyard. I've had a lot of branches fall in the wind recently, but I don't know. That might be a little too much. We'll have to see about that. Because it's rained and they're probably wet and waterlogged and stuff. So anyhow, we're about halfway through the tutorial, maybe a little less than half. And we're gonna hit play. And we're gonna see where we're at with it right now. I did take a quick peek before we got started just to make sure I was in the right spot. So we're gonna jump over to this section. And he starts putting in some more trees on a hill here. Now we've got, he comes straight down to the ground. So we can either bring our white all the way down to the ground. Not something I really wanted to do. It kind of works with his because you can see the brush strokes, but if I put, like, this kind of works because you can kind of vaguely see like some pink poking through in a couple of spots from like the background sky colors and stuff, land colors and things. In here, it's closer, so I think I'm going to take this and about halfway, or maybe a little less than halfway, I'm going to try to fill this in just with some ground in the top half of this. Just so, you know, if our tree color, if we don't get it, you know, too tight and some of it does poke through, then, you know, it won't just be the gray background poking through, just for that sort of thing. And then he puts the yellow ochre in here, which is what I had to go grab because I forgot to grab my mustard color. And he kind of puts that down at the bottom half of it, and then he does another layer of tree in there. So that's probably what we're going to be working on today. I'm not sure if we'll get past this part today. I do have a hard stop time today. So, we'll see. I actually wanted to start a little bit earlier, but I got distracted and lost track of time because, you know, the time change and everything. I'm tired. So I didn't get quite as much sleep as I would have liked, but because, man, I tried to go to bed early last night too because I knew I had stuff to get done today, and my body was just like, no, it's not time for bed yet. And I was like, but the things. Now he adds reflections there. With this, it's really hard to do the reflections because they don't look like reflections on this. It's just gonna look like some weird ass abstract shit, you know? Because you can't really, like, it'll just like weirdly placed color. So I am omitting the reflections on this. Now he's going to come back in and do his waterline in here. I didn't do the waterline back here yet because I figured we would wait until we were done. Because he's got some more stuff coming in over here that we still have to kind of figure out. But if we can get a pull out of this. Okay, so that's where we stand for right now. So that's what we're gonna work on getting done here. And it'll help us use up this color. And we might have to add a little bit of this in too. That's fine. It's gonna be mostly covered up anyway. But I just wanna get a little something in there. Just so it's not just the background color, basically. So that is where we're gonna start today. And we'll start to tighten up this side of the piece. And we'll see how things go. So I am working on that last speed felt project. The video's taking a bit of time. There was like one less live stream, but they were rather large chunks of live stream, so they're taking a little bit longer to get through. I think I've got 9, 10, I've got 3.5 live streams left to edit in. Just finished editing down episode 8 from the last project. I have episode 9, episode 10, and then episode 11. I have 2 hours of episode 11 because episode 11 we finished that one and then started this one in the same go. Now, when we get done with this one, we're gonna have to do, I think, a planning session to figure out our colors for the next one. I liked how that kind of worked out a bit. Then I wasn't just having to make color selections on the fly. Okay. Well, that might have been how that got pulled out, because that was a little bit well attached there. So this doesn't have to be super covered, but I do want a little bit of coverage in here. This is probably just going to be a quick cover, quick in quotation marks. We will see how all of the things go. I mean, you can tell with this one, since we're working in smaller chunks here, and we did the middle, like this section's loose and this section's a little bit tighter. But when we're all said and done, it should be pretty good. We shouldn't have too many issues. This one's been a strange one. And like I've said previously, I wasn't real keen on doing this one, but I think I was originally planning on skipping it. When I first started this whole crazy ass project idea, what, a year ago now, I didn't have as many colors of yarn as I do now. So I was originally like, well, I mean, some sacrifices are going to have to be made because I don't have all of these colors. And I couldn't afford to get all of them. But I also severely underestimated how long this project would take on the whole to complete the whole season, or at least most of the season. There's probably at least one that we're going to have to end up skipping. I was originally saying, I don't think I'm going to be able to do this one. I don't think I'm going to be able to do this one. I will revisit it when we do a planning session, and we'll see how it goes on the planning session, and I'll take stock of what I have, but I just don't know if I'm gonna be able to pull that one off, and that's gonna be the cowboy one. That one's still a real big question in my mind. The infamous one where he actually did a person. I don't know why I hold my arm this way, I just do. I think because I'm trying to keep things from bouncing all over. I know it looks terribly awkward and painful. It just kind of, my arm was just like, okay, doesn't really hurt. I was going back editing the other video. It just seems to be a natural way I bend my arm at times. Or instinctual. Or subconscious, I don't know. My arm's just like, yeah, okay, we'll go this way. That's fine. I don't know, it doesn't bother me. But like going back and looking at all of the last episode stuff, it's like, yeah, I tend to hold my arm that way. I don't know why. It's just a thing. I don't have to be super fussy about that edge right now. Because, I mean, we're going to have this other, like this other color on top of this. So it's not like it's a huge concern that there was that little edge gap there. We can totally deal with that in a few minutes. Alright, so we'll get that tapped into there. And I probably want this to come down a little bit further, so we'll use up this color, right? And then I'll bring in a little bit of that other color that we used further back. Because we will have a little bit of that yellow ochre, but these trees in this section they're not going to be as tall as these ones. So I do want them to have a little bit of a lower standing. This is a thing you guys don't have to do, it's just something I do. It tends to flatten out everything. I need to sit on my mat again because it's poofing up some more. It only helps flatten it for like an hour or two, but like it doesn't stay reflattened very long. is going to be such a shock of color when we add this in. It's my most, I mean, it's a little bright for ochre, but it's the closest thing I've got. So, I mean, it's definitely going to be a little noticeable, but then again, we've got some more color coming in down here at the bottom anyhow. So it's not like it's going to be a huge thing. But it'll definitely stand out a bit. That's for sure. Okay, so that color's all gone. Yay, we used up a thing of roving. These are just from the weird multicolored bag of roving I had gotten off of Amazon before I realized that if I run out of a color in the middle, I'm kind of fucked, because it was like a multicolor bag, and you know, they don't give you very much. All they give you is this little tiny bag of each color. So it's like, yeah. But, I mean, I had gotten it just to see if I was even gonna like it, so. Because, I mean, you could be really enthused and want to try the thing, but then when you actually start to try it, it can be like, oh, I don't know if I really like this. So, I mean, you kind of want to reach a middle ground where you are spending the money to do the thing, but you also don't want to go all in until you're sure that you really want to do the thing and that you enjoy the thing. I mean, you don't want to waste all that money if you're not sure, right? Because, I mean, it's not a waste if you enjoy it, but if you end up not liking it, then, you know, a lot of times you can't return stuff because you've already opened it to try the thing. So I started out with just the roving thingies, and I did do a couple small things with it. Alright. There's just some wispy guys at the end there. Just wanted to gather all of them up. So that might be good for there. I know we do have some splits in here, some spots that we missed. That's fine. because we're coming in with our tree line here. Okay, so this guy, I'm gonna roll him back up and tuck him back in his pouch. Maybe we can figure out something to do with him later. Don't know what yet. Okay. I'll stick you over there. Just get you out of the way. Now, our tree color in here needs to be a bit darker. So I believe we said that was going to be our medium gray color here. So we'll start with that now. Okay, so this was roving from the sample multicolored pack that I had picked up off of Amazon. This is acrylic yarn, this color. This is our Big Twist value yarn from Joann's. This is their in-house label. Like, I'm not only going to use one brand. I'll get whatever's on sale. I need the sale prices, friends. I need the sale prices. Okay. So, I have to figure out how tall I want you to be. And we'll have to variate our tallness. Obviously. I know my finger's still in the way a little bit. I didn't want it to haul off and eat all of our thread just yet. Let's say this edge has kind of gotten pulled in a bit, because I'm surprised that the cloud is out that far. Like I said, this happens sometimes. Oh, and I'm also crooked, so, you know, that also is a thing. That's okay. Crooked trees happen. Not a huge deal. See how we can make a go of this. And hopefully will come out okay here in the end. Oh, okay, that's some really crooked trees there. Now that I'm like really trying to realign that edge, because this edge got like really sucked in. That's okay, we might be able to clean that up a little bit here. We will see how it goes. Still have to get our yellow ochre in here. So that guy's a little bit better. Definitely a thicker stand of trees there. I mean, now we could just go ahead and add in the ochre down here now. We could do that. And it might help with some of this looseness in here. Because again, this doesn't have to be real super thick and stuff. Because we're gonna have, I mean, I'll probably be a little more picky with this one. Because this one, there's going to be a bit more of the shade showing, I think. Possibly. I'm gonna work on getting this one tapped into here. And I'm just kind of tapping in everybody, making sure we're all good and attached here. As best as we can be. I want to make sure that everybody's good and secure. Helps reduce any potential problems later. Now I can have this little weird seam in this section because we've got this tree line that's going to be sitting here at the very top of this color. And then once we get this in, we're going to have another stand of trees happening here. I actually prefer this in this direction. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to add another one that's a little bit straighter right in here just for my peace of mind and my sanity, because like now that I know it's way crooked, it's like bugging the hell out of me. But that's more of a me issue than anything. Alright. So, work on getting this tapped into here. I am probably going to come out into the water on this color just a little bit. I'm not planning on coming out very far, but a little. And then down in here I'll probably overlap just a little bit more. Just to work on getting some ground cover in here. And see what we can do. Alright, so this is going to take a little bit more time because it was a little bit of a thicker, bigger piece. So I mean, you don't want to rush through it too much. You want to make sure that you're attached down here. And you can kind of tell when you're not after you've been doing it for a while, just by the look of it, if you're not fully attached. You can just tell. Oh. We haven't added any of this color recently to the mat, so We'll see if any ends up sticking to it. We've definitely added some pink, that's for certain. Definitely have this magenta-y color. So at least we're making it more festive, I guess. So let's see. So this is filling in pretty good. Pretty good. This probably is helping a little bit just to tighten everything up before we get the trees finished being put in up there. Probably should have done this before I started the trees, so what's there already is fine. But this will help with things a bit. Tighten up all this loose backing or loose base felt. In here. Start to get this guy put into here. The time changes kill me, but I'm glad that it'll be getting dark later. That feels more normal to me than it getting dark at like 6 o'clock. My day feels like it's over before it's begun half the time. I much prefer it getting dark later. Now I will have to pay a little bit more attention to our bottom seam here where these two colors are meeting, because that's going to be a little bit more visible. So I might actually come in with a little bit of brown. Have it be a little bit of dirt on the edge there. Coming up to the water. I mean, it's fine to make adjustments. And his looks like there's a little something there. It's probably just a darker gray. And that's fine if that's what that is. But I think on mine, just a little bit of darker brown might help that transition down to the water just a little bit better. Okay. Well, I think I see a little bit of our yellow color trying to take hold there. Okay. Now we're not done with our yellow color yet. Still need to add a little bit more in here. And like I said, I want to pay a little bit extra attention to this bottom edge here. Alright, and this is also that same Big Twist value line of yarn from Joann's. So I'm using a couple different places, a couple different yarn brands. So between the roving and this label of yarn and paint box, which is what this one was. I mean, it's all acrylic yarn or roving, but I just feel like I should tell you which label company a color is from, so that way you can see how it works up. And again, I'm pulling up off the mat just to make sure I haven't completely felted it to the mat. We've tried to do that a couple of times accidentally, and it's been interesting releasing the project. So I tend to lift it up more often than some people might, just because when I haven't done it in quite a while and then go to lift it up, I distort the entire project trying to remove it because I'm pulling that hard. Because it doesn't want to let go for me, and I'm like, oh shit. It's like, Houston, we have a problem. Now, if you're doing it on foam, it might be a little bit easier to release off the foam. But I'm using the felt wool felting mat, so I think it's felt. Or maybe it's a felt wool blend. matte than instead of the foam, because the foam is scritchy and my ears can't take the scritchy a lot of the time. And you all got to experience the scritchy foam to an extent when we were working on the gingerbread house at Christmas. So I probably won't have a super big Christmas project like that this time. Or for this year. Probably won't. Nothing like that. Don't know what this coming year's Christmas projects might end up being. Not really sure. Probably won't figure that out till like probably October. Unless I see something in the meantime that I'm like, yes, that's what we're doing. Oh, you know, that's what our Christmas project's gonna be. We are gonna make the grave blanket for my dad's grave. Oh, you guys get to see me burn myself with hot glue. That will be fake florally stuff. Though I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to stream that. We might have to test a setup for that, because I need space. I don't know if I have enough space here. And doubt I'm gonna have this desk replaced by then, so we might have to get the other table. And I might have to rig something with that. We'll figure it out then. Alrighty. Let's see, what time is it? 2:45. Okay. So I'm probably gonna have to change the time, the start time on stream to a little bit earlier in the afternoon. Since I've been having to make dinner for my mom to make sure she eats something. and she needs to eat earlier in the evening. So I haven't changed it yet on the schedule, but I'll probably try to do a start time of 2. I wish we could just like not put a start time on that schedule, but what days did you switch your stream to?
I think it was Tuesday and Saturday, maybe? Or maybe it was Thursday and Saturday, I don't know.
Okay, so you're gonna just do the 2 days.
Yeah, for now at least.
Okay. So yeah, I might try to switch that start time back to 2. Because 2 to 4, 2 to 4:30, something like that. That kind of works. There's going to be times where it's going to be a little bit of a later start and a shorter stream if we have to go run errands that day, as inevitably happens. But it shouldn't be that often that does happen. Okay, so just a little bit more in here. 'Cause like I said, I want this one to be covered a little bit better than that section. Gonna fill us in a little bit better. And overall, it'll just be a better thing for when we start bringing in the rest of our treeage here. Turning this thing all sorts of sideways, or it just keeps ending up that way. My mat likes to walk around on the desk as we're doing the things. Alright, so I think I just have a little bit more just to cover right in here, and then we'll be able to go back to our tree friends. And work on getting those guys all put in there. Alright. I mean, it is such a strange burst of color in this section, but kind of what he had, so. And we never see the reference photos that he's using, which I find fascinating. But he might have been using like 4 different photos. Don't really know. But we never do see them. Probably because of copyright or something. And he's probably looking at one of the paintings he's already done off to the side instead of the reference photo. So he's probably repainting the painting. They said he did 3 of each one. I think 2 were, I think one was to get the idea across. And I think the second one was to try to get it done in the time that he had for the recording, and then there was the one that was actually done on the show. So who knows what the original one looked like for this one that he actually had time to stand there and play with. I would like to know how long that first painting of the 3 that he did for each one took. That's what I would like to know. Like, how much time did he spend putting that one together? Okay. Alright, so that kinda evened that up a little bit. Those trees look horribly crooked now, both of them. But we'll see if we can fix that up here in just a second. Alright, so these don't have to be as skinny as the ones back there, but I do want them a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't try to eat this entire bit here. Like from the bottom, that's what I'm more concerned about. And I mean, that can be a little bit crooked. Should be alright. Usually I snip them at the top, but I already had that nice tip that I didn't want to lose, so this one we did from the bottom. Okay. That's just to release it from the mat, just to make sure we were still doing okay there. Now I might come back in with a little bit more of that yellow and just, you know, maybe thin do it through the bottom of the tree. Just to get a little bit of an overlap on there. And see, stuff like this down in here, that's why I wanted that color down first. Just in case we had any breaks or separations or things. Excuse me. Alrighty. Just kind of working on getting our tree line in here. And this guy's a little short, but that's how he wanted to be, so that's how he wanted to be. Kind of all there is to it. I want a little bit of variation on height and stuff here. Don't want it all the same height. That's not going to do us any favors, for sure. Okay, so this one kind of took on a slightly angled look again. Probably because I was twisting it a little bit. Like, I don't think this side's so twisted, but this side was combed out straight. It wasn't as floofy as this stuff is, because this was the roving, so it's a little bit more coarse, or this type of roving that came with the color set I ordered. So it's a little more put together, I guess, whereas this set of trees is a little more kind of all over the place here. And that's okay. This section should probably be a little more rigid because it's back a bit further, because something else is coming in here. I think I've got another little land doodle in here that I need to put in. I'm not holding this very tight, but I am holding it so it just doesn't go too crazy. I just like all slam through one spot. Because if you don't, like, if you want it that way, that's fine, but if you don't want to go through the entire section of roving or yarn or whatever you're using in one shot there, then you might want to just hold on to a teeny bit of it as you're going, because the notches and barbs in the needles will grab that and start pulling the whole strand in. Yeah, so I'll probably grab a little bit more of this color and just like wisp it up into the very bottoms of these. Okay, so where do we think you'll fit in here? I'm thinking maybe here. Now you can also tack the top down. It'll keep it from pulling all of it in on you, but it will pull it from its tack down, so until it gets happy with its placement. Okay, and we've got this edge kind of back where it should be for the most part. For the most part. What's up, Littles? Little says hello, apparently. Or wants something. Not sure which. It's little. I don't know if we would ever know. I'm just kind of making the base of that a little bit thicker than it had been. Trying to be mindful of my height here as well. Because again, we don't want to entirely telephone pole forest, but we do, and while we do want some height variation, there's going to be a natural sort of desizing as you get lower down the hill. Okay, so now I've got this guy. Where the hell are you gonna live? 'Cause I don't know. I don't want to not use this piece. There's no reason to skip using it, since, I mean, we do need the smaller trees as we go down, so. Like, might as well. Don't want it to go to waste. There's nothing wrong with that piece. At all. Alright. So it's starting to look like a little something. I don't know. I don't know what. This isn't one of the better ones, I think, but we're not done yet, so you know, we'll see. Oh, that wanted to naturally separate, I guess. So where am I gonna put you? Because you're not... I don't know where I want to put you, because I feel like you are gonna be a little bit shorter. Than those guys, but not as short as these guys. Okay. Yeah, that height kind of worked out there. That's fine with that. And this guy, though. Well, I guess they're about the same size. When it's all said and done. Right. So those two got a little further apart from each other, but that should be okay. I don't foresee that being a huge deal. Okay. So let's get back to work on our tall boys here. See how we go with them. So we have to start bringing them down in height now. Since we're making our way down this hill. So that way we can keep up with progression here. I mean, you can have a tall one here or there. You just don't want to go too outrageously tall and be like halfway up the piece here. That would be an anomaly. One super tree, the king tree of the entire section. I mean, if that's really what you want to do, I can't stop you. Maybe that's your signature style where you have like one grossly large alien looking tree. Okay, so where do we want to go with you? Let's see about getting you into here. Probably should have doubled you up and went with our short guy on the end there. But I didn't, so choices were made. And it's not really like it's that big of a deal. If you really don't like how one part worked out, you could try to get a seam ripper and pull this stuff out. I think it's just easier just to cover it over. Because sometimes you're not going to be able to rip that out without destroying more than you necessarily wanted to. So do keep that in mind. Alright, so this guy here. Start to get you worked into our tree line here. So I don't want to be too much taller than the other guy. I've got to be a little taller than this one though. Or at least that's the goal. So it doesn't look too out of place as we're working our way down here. Alright. Okay, that's not looking too shabby. I've got so many different tones of trees here. Okay. This guy, his little tails there being a little awkward, so that's fine. We've all been awkward. I feel ya, buddy. I feel ya. Alright, so we'll get that guy in there. Well, we might do one more just to fill up that gap. That gap's a little wide between these two. Well, wider than I would like, put it that way. Alright, so we'll need to get a bit more fluff here. Okay, so this is Season 3 Joy of Painting that we're following along with, and it's episode 5 for Distant Hills. We've already done the other 4 in this series. If you missed seeing those and do want to see them, you can find them archived on my YouTube channel on the Nisey Needle Felts playlist. And the link should be down below, or you can just search NiseyBGN on YouTube. It's the same channel name as here. Alright, so this guy, probably trim him about there. He's going to be a little bit tall. Not so much, not once we get everybody worked in here. Okay, there's that. Now this guy's a little small, I think, for, well, maybe not. I might be able to get him in there. I don't want him too terribly short either. And I don't mind the little breaks in between, but that one was a little, the more I was staring at it, the more I was like, that might be a little too far for me. So it's there now. I mean, this one should be okay. Let me do another smooth down on the back here. It's been a little bit since we brushed that down. Again, this is a step you don't necessarily have to do. It's just something I like to do. Helps keep my piece from getting too pits and valleys on the front. And helps it lay a little bit flatter. At least I think. Okay. Now, let's see about getting this in. Sometimes I'll start like a small one and then the big ones, and then I'll try to work towards each other a little bit. Helps me sometimes keeping the sizing from getting a little too crazy. Like every so often if I have an odd length one, I'll just kind of work it in somewhere in the line where I feel like it should be. And we'll figure things out from there. Now, we probably won't get much further than this section today. In fact, we probably won't even finish this section today. Just because I just checked the time. I'm hoping tomorrow we'll have a little bit more time. So we will be back for tomorrow's stream. We're not going anywhere that I know of tomorrow. I don't think we have to be anywhere tomorrow. I know there's a couple of phone calls we have to make, but that's about it. Yeah, I don't want to waste this little guy here, since we still need some little guys down here. Okay. Bless you. What was that? I think that was Ed. Since whoever else that is on the bed looks like they are passed out. Didn't quite sound like a Momo sneeze either. So Ed the cat. Alright. So, let's see, is this a little too thick? I don't know, that might have been alright. Okay. So, let's get the sky in. In here. Yeah, so tomorrow we'll probably shoot for a start time of hopefully no later than 2. I'll try to set an alarm to get up with. Of course, migraine permitting as always. I might have to stick something in here because now I'm seeing this gap here, even if it's a shorter one. And that's gonna bug me so much. Okay. Because I know me. Like, I'm not saying it has to come all the way up here, but just at least to that spot. Okay, I'm kind of okay with the tops being all wild and doing their own thing. 'Cause, you know, trees, they fan out, they fluff out. We're kind of just going for the indication of something being there. We're not trying to do a whole ton of something, so that's more than fine. Get this guy into here. So Coral Island still hasn't done their update yet, but all of the email and I guess the Steam forum post said was sometime this month. They didn't say when. They didn't know when. But I haven't seen a date for it yet, and it hasn't just magically shown up. But I am super glad that we got that greenhouse unlocked finally. I don't even have that unlocked in my off-stream game because they made some changes after I'd already gone through winter. So that's fun. And we got that new area unlocked. I did not know that new area to scavenge through was going to unlock at all. I did not. That was a very big surprise to me. I was like, oh, hey. That's fun. So we might move our trees, or at least some of our trees, as the seasons go into that greenhouse. Because why not? Now I don't know if there'll still be seasonal growing in the greenhouse. Usually the greenhouse protects stuff year round and it'll still do its thing. We'll see. That will be interesting. Like Stardew Valley, it ignores the seasons when it's in that building, so will this be the same? Don't know. Uh-oh. There we go. We got a little too attached to our map there. Okay. Alright, I'm just kind of twisting and twirling just to get this a little bit more into something that's going to cooperate with us here. It'll be a little bit easier to manage. And it'll get all of our fibery doos tightened up here. I still haven't had the chance to work on the embroidery hoop piece. I haven't had that much energy at the end of the day to sit down and record it, and I've been trying to get that video edited. I think yesterday took me the better part of a day to get that one live stream cut down because I had to keep getting up and doing stuff. Now, if you want them a little bit more controlled chaos, you could probably work that into a better point before you snip. I'm just kind of like, alright, whatever, do your own thing at the top. That's fine. Okay, so that gap fill-in feels a little bit better for me. I'm okay with this being a little bit shorter. It's not as painful to me than that huge gap that was developing between the two. Okay. So keep going on this row here. So the mother-in-law has left with her sister. Like they've left. And she left her car this time instead of taking it back to her sister's. So now we have to start it every couple of days or something. Right. Oh, Momo's on the prowl. Really, Mosesor?
Yeah, you're gonna have to chill for a little bit, buddy.
Well, I guess it's been almost 2 hours. Buddy, can you give me a few minutes? Is he standing on you?
No, he moved.
Okay.
Oh, now he's standing by me. You gotta wait, buddy. I can't walk away at the moment.
Alright. Give me 1 second, Mozos. Alright, doggy's demanding potty. So give me 1 second and I will be right back here. Let me find my texty-do. That looks like a different one than the one I remember there being before. Alright, whatever. Oh shit, I don't know what that was that I just grabbed. Come on. I don't know where to put this. I'll put it right there. I probably have to thicken up that font so it's easier to read. Okay, so give me 1 second, you guys. I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry about that. Doggy had to potty, and then somebody pulled up out front and was asking if we were getting rid of the stuff that was on the side of the road, and I'm like, yeah. I think they thought it was a washer. I'm like, well, it's a dryer. I said, but that's broken. He goes, that's okay. I said, I'll be back later. I have to go to a birthday party. And I'm like, oh, all right, well, if you come back or not, it's going to be there. I went back in. I'm going back inside. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and watch it and hold it for you, because then you might not come back. Like, what the fuck ever. I'm sorry, sir, if somebody else got it before you came back. There's not much I can do about that. I mean, you know how people can be. They can be like, yeah, I'll come back for it, and then they don't show back up. And I'm like, sir, we had to tip that onto a tarp and drag the tarp up here to get it up here. The top's not even attached to it anymore. It's been out in the weather. Like, I just want it fucking gone, just so you know it doesn't work right now. We don't know if we shorted the part that we tried to replace, or if the whole thing blew. We don't know. After our attempt at fixing and something going wrong, we were like, fuck it, we're just replacing it now, because we didn't know what had happened.
I mean, I'm also not sure that it wasn't the, I wasn't sure that it wasn't the fuse box outside either, remember?
Yeah, but at that point we were going to have to order another part again, because we didn't have the right one,
yeah,
so...
I may have murdered it in the process of fucking that up.
Yeah.
So...
But that's okay, because it was probably only going to be a short-lived fix anyway, because I don't know how many working cycles that dryer had left in its lifespan, because it was not new when we got it either, so that's alright. Now we have to think about replacing our stove, because it's starting to take on a life of its own. One of the burners was making a scary, weird, humming, sizzly noise on, like, up in the control knob area. So we had pulled that knob off. I was like, okay, this burner's dead to us now. We still have 3 that function. We're okay. We functioned on a stove for quite a while that only had 2 burners that were operating properly. It was a pain in the ass, but we did it. And now we've got another burner that's being really weird, making odd noises on the control panel for it. And we're like, And the oven, when it finishes preheating, or just as it's about to finish preheating now, it's making this loud thump. And I'm like, oh. Okay. I don't think... You didn't do that before. I don't know why you're doing that now. But you didn't do that before. Not like that. So, that has moved up higher on the this needs to be dealt with sooner than later list. So we're trying not to be walking away too long when we've got something cooking. We need to check that fire extinguisher that we have in the kitchen, because I think it's expired. We might need to see if we can take it to the fire department and get it recharged or something. Okay, so we have some gappies in here. But I do want to fill in just a little bit. So 3:50 p.m. We can probably go till maybe 4:30ish today before I have to start dinner. So we've got that. And we'll get this guy just kind of filled in there because there is some spacing in there. Didn't mean for there to be that much spacing. This is going to be a very stiff piece since I've got so many, like we've gone this way and now I'm going this way. So I think when we go to finish it, we're going to try to do, we're going to trim up the sides as best as we can. Since trying to get this in a frame is going to be a little bit difficult, we'd have to go with like a mat that has an 8x10 opening, roughly. Or maybe it would have to be a custom mat because it's a little wonky on the edges. It's hard to keep it quite within the outline because the fabric likes to pull in on itself and shrink a little bit as you do this. It happens, it's fine. So I think we might try to experiment with trimming off the edges and then getting the half dowels and attaching them at the top and the bottom. And then just kind of doing like a little hangy-do off of there with some like twine or something. We'll see how that goes. See if we can make something happen with that. Maybe we can, maybe we can't. We'll see. We'll see. I'm trying to figure out a way to get these displayed. I mean, it's either that or you go with like a custom framey-do. Or something. I mean, it's possible that you could leave the edges on here and maybe get some like willow sticks or something and like glue them to the edges and kind of make your own little custom frame, or take this and mount the whole piece after you cut it out onto like a piece of foam board and then like glue the willow sticks on the edges. I don't know. You probably wouldn't want to cut it off the edging if you're gonna do that. Probably, or get like a frame back. I think they sell just the frame backs. And attach that to the middle and then like do your sticking stuff, glue that to the edge. Because depending on the glue that you use, I guess you'd have to go hot glue. So I'm trying to do the embroidery hoop one to see how that works out, just to have like an easier way to display them, you know? So like I said, I haven't really had the chance to work on that since I last showed it to you. And right now I'm just trying to work on getting enough color on there. So I'd originally traced the bottom hoop because I'm like, okay, well that'll like slide into there, but I had to come back and make my circle bigger because I realized what I did wrong. Sorry, the threading on this bolt is kind of janky, so like I've got to try to get it lined up here, because then this is gonna go over top, so actually needs to get slightly adjusted because this is over. So I mean, there we go. So we just need a little bit more on our edges, like right in here and then right in here. So I have to come a little bit off my edge piece in here. And these were just the guidelines I was trying to figure out in my head for where I was putting stuff, but yeah, I mean, it's not bad. And then we'll have to work on getting that tightened up and stuff. I might need to get a pair of pliers to really get in there and get that tight when it's all done, because right now it's a little loose popping off of there, but we also don't have all of the fiber in there, so. But I'm not doing it while it's on the hoop though. I wasn't sure how that would work out, and now I'm not sure. There we go. Not sure which way I needed to turn that guy now, so you know, it's an experiment. We'll see how it goes. I'm like, I don't know if I can do it while it's on the hoop. I mean, I might be able to. I just don't know. I haven't tried it. Alright, so this guy. Kind of sit into here. Although he might have got put in the wrong spot. That's okay though. That'll be alright. Now you might be able to use like Aida cloth, which might fit in the hoop a little bit better. I just didn't have any, or like muslin or something. I didn't have any, so I do have some old t-shirts. Like I've seen people like needle felt on canvas totes before, which amazed me because I was like, I didn't think you could needle felt into that, because you know it's so thick and it's a really tight weave, so you might need like a microfine needle in all sorts of patience, but I'd be afraid it would get destroyed on a tote bag. And I could probably do a t-shirt or something. That might be doable. I've got some old t-shirts. I mean, we'd have to see. I do wonder, you know, if we do actually have to keep doing this time-changing nonsense. Because I'm tired. It's gonna take a little bit to adjust. I mean, people are like, oh, we'll just go to bed an hour early the night before and you'll be fine. No, it doesn't work that way for me. My body is like, hey, why are we going to bed so soon? We're not tired yet. And if I'm not tired in the least, trying to lay down does me no good. Because then I just lay there and my brain's just like, hey, let's play a game. And I'm like, no, we really can't. We could read. And they're like, no, I want to play a game of let's recall every conversation you've cringed at ever. I'm like, no, we really don't need to. That's fine. Let's not. Let's have some quiet time. And then, like, my brain is off and running. So I'm just like, ugh. Seriously. And then if it gets too bad, it ends up with me just giving up and getting up. And I'm like, no. We need to be more tired than this right now. Kind of situation. Ugh. Excuse me. Alright. Need to make sure we're bringing this on down in height wise here. Careful not to snip your other, like the actual base of the project there. I mean, you might be able to needle felt it back together, but it would probably be a ginormous pain. Okay, so we still have a bit of a extra bump there. It's a little bit raised up. I'm gonna see if we can fix that here as we're going. I'm thinking we will be once we just get all of these other fibers remeshed in together here. Some of these guys tightened up a little bit. I tell you though, it feels like there's never enough hours to get all of the things done. So we have an earlier stop time tonight because I have to go make dinner. And we need to finish putting stuff out on the curb because we're having our big spring cleaning, which is why the broken dryer is up there. We didn't know if they would take it. And we're like, that's fine if they don't. We'll figure out something. We'll take it to the dump ourselves then. you know, no big deal, no hurt feelings. We didn't know. And, you know, if this dude actually does come back and take it, then fantastic. I don't have to worry about the city getting mad about it, but at least it's up there with all the other junk that we're getting rid of. Like, my dad's reclining chair that we can't really keep. That thing was battered anyway. It was really getting to the point where he needed to replace that soon, because he was basically living in that chair. And, the padding was all smushed. And, it just kind of looked like it was just, you know, just the frame poking through the padding in some places, and I'm like, this can't be very comfortable to sit on. At this point. But, just, you know, other just miscellaneous junk, because we didn't do a spring cleaning last year. We get one, so spring cleaning here is that, our city, like, we have to pay for trash bags with the city's name on them. If our trash is not in a city trash bag, they won't pick up our trash. They say it's to keep the local dump from filling up so fast. I don't know if I believe that, because you can just drive up to the dump and drop whatever off, but you do have to pay a fee, depending on the weight. Which, you know, fine, whatever. I think you have to drive on the scale, drop the stuff off, and then you drive back on the scale, and then they determine how much you had to pay, maybe, or maybe they just take it at the base weight of how much the stuff was that you were getting rid of. Possibly. I don't know, but like minimum fee is like $10. So, I mean, you know, we have to pay $5 a box, I think, for the city named trash bags, and they're bullshit. And we have to buy regular trash bags anyway to put the city bags around, because the city bags are such ridiculousness that half the time we've gone to just pull the little drawstringies closed and they rip out of the bag. Or you go to pull the trash bag out of the trash can and it rips down the side. And we're like, fucking really? How are people single bagging their stuff and it like making it out to the curb at one piece? Like, I don't understand this. Apparently you can also sign up for a city trash can, special trash can. And that has like a base fee of $80 some, and then you have to pay a monthly fee of $20 for them to pick it up from the city can. But if you have more trash than what'll fit in the can, and you sit it next to the can, they won't pick it up. They'll only take what's in the special can if you have the special can. So, I wish I was making this up. This was a poor farming community. Like, I'm like, where are people getting the money for this shit? Because, you know, I don't quite understand how they're right. At that point, it's cheaper to just buy a trailer and load your trailer up with your garbage and do like a bi-weekly or like every 2-week run to the dump and just take it up there. Oy, I just So, anyway, back to the thing. We get one free spring cleaning a year where we can throw out anything that's not hazardous, supposedly. Because we've put out furniture before and stuff. Where they'll take it where it doesn't have to be in a city trash bag. You only get one of those a year. We didn't do one last year. We talked about doing it, but we couldn't, like, it seemed like every weekend, because they do it on your trash day, like your normal pickup trash day, and ours is a Monday. So, like, every time we were thinking about doing it, the weather was bullshit over the weekend, and it was pouring rain, like, they kept predicting it, and I'm like, neither one of us really wanted to drag all that stuff up to the curb in the pouring rain, in the mud. And we didn't really have that much last year. We mostly use it to get rid of, like, our bulk kitty litter containers. Because, you know, when you have cats, you go through a lot of cat litter. And the containers that the cat litter comes in, our recycling won't take, because of the number on the bottom of the containers. So, you know, they don't take that number. Living here's been quite the adventure compared to where we were. I mean, our recycling before we left New Jersey, they're like, just put it out there. Like, we went from having to separate stuff out into bins like glass, cans, plastic, newspaper, to, you know, glass by color. And then they're like, no, all the glass can go together now. And we're like, okay. And then they're like, the cardboard and the paper can all go together. And we're like, okay. And then it's like, you know what? It doesn't matter. Just put it in the can and we'll figure it out. And I'm like, really? So, like, the cans and the plastic bottles can be together? Like, yeah, we don't care. Just put it out there. Just put it in the can and put it out there. And I'm like, wow. However, they also had a big sorting facility. And, you know, they would sort it there and paid people to sort it out there. Because my one half-sibling briefly worked there when I was little. That was when they had the smaller facility, and then they upgraded to larger facilities and stuff. So I'm like, okay, cool. So they can handle their shit. This town has been growing exponentially by leaps and bounds over the years. Faster than I think the city was really prepared for. But the city also just keeps approving new housing being built, and I'm like, y'all need to, like, slow the fuck down. I get people want to live here for some fucking reason, but, you know, did anybody tell them about the water situation? Did anybody explain this is how we do things here? You know, and all of the things. Because then, you know, people are getting here and they're like, I'm having trouble doing this. And we're like, yeah, no, it's because that's how they do things here. They're like, oh. And it's like, yeah, that's how things are done here. So, you know, it seems like every day there's like 3 and 4 posts about people trying to find a rental in the area. And I'm just like, yeah, good luck with that. Rent is astronomical for this tiny poor town, and I'm just like, why? But apparently the people renting out these houses are like, well, that's the market going rate right now. And I'm like, this isn't New York City. Rent should not be the same here than it is in New York City. I'm sorry. It just shouldn't be. I mean, some of the minimum rents these people are looking for, they're like, yeah, it can't be any more than like $1,800 a month for rent. I'm like, excuse me? I could never fathom paying that much in rent. That's like a mortgage payment, okay? Like, what? everybody wants to move here because it's a small town feel. Oh, I love the small town feel here. I'm like, y'all do realize that the more people move in, the more housing you approve, and the more full everything is gonna get, the less it's gonna be a quaint small town, right? And it's not gonna feel like a small town. You do get that, right? Like, I just have to shake my head, and I'm just like, wow. Okay. Hopefully these real estate prices in the area hold when we have to sell this place. Probably won't, because that'll be our luck. We had a real estate agent call us on the phone directly. Not an automated thing. An agent actually called us like 2 or 3 days ago, asking for the owner of the house. Russell's on, I think Russell might be on the deed with his mom. And, I'm not positive though. And they're like, oh yeah, so-and-so there. And he's like, no. And then they're like, oh, well, is this person there? He goes, yeah, that's me. And they're like, oh, well, are you interested in selling your house? And he's like, no, we're not. Goodbye. And I'm just like, wow. Wow. I'm like, if we were interested in selling our house, we would have put it up for sale by now. I mean, it's an older house. It has problems. It needs work. It would probably be considered a handyman special or a DIY house flipper's dream at this point. I don't know. There's a lot that needs to be done. Like, part of a floor needs to be replaced. In one of the rooms, it's been reinforced and we can walk on it and stuff for now, but it does need to be dealt with because of water damage. And the water lines in are old and cast iron and starting to really show their age. Those need to be replaced. And my aunt was like, as I had said, I was like, let's not break the sewer line when they were trying to empty the RV into the sewer before they were dicking around someday. And she goes, oh, it's fine. And, we told her we were going to pay her off and, we still have this stuff that has to get done. And she's like, oh, well, when you pay me off, we can start over and I can lend it back to you and then you can do the water lines in. And I'm like, I don't know how much more money I want to sink into this place right now. Because we don't know what we're doing. Or when that's going to happen. Because we eventually may sell this property. We don't know yet. It depends on, a lot of things. We don't have kids, so we don't necessarily have to be tied to an area for schooling, although, with online learning, that might not really be an issue anyway. Sorry, I had a weird, bump happening there. So I just want to retap everybody down in here. So, even if we did have a kid, we would probably do, the online learning for them. At least for a portion of it. But, that's not a factor now anyway. Because we don't have kids and probably won't. We're not sure if one of us is just not able to at this point. But at this point, I'm also okay with... I've always been okay with not having any. I can barely take care of myself. So I can't even fathom having to take care of another individual from tiny... not being able to do anything for themselves, and they're not a houseplant, so I'm just like, I don't know about this. But all jokes aside, it's just, it didn't happen as of yet, but we're okay with that. Circumstances being what they are. So, I mean, we wouldn't really need to be tied to a specific location. So we may move out of this area at some point. Potentially. Maybe. It depends. It depends on a lot of things. It depends on, you know, how we're doing. And when things happen, you know, it just depends. Like, the fuck is that noise? Is that a bird? It might have been a bird. It sounded like a dog squeaky toy. Is that a bird?
I don't know.
You heard that, right, though? The squeaky toy?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not crazy. Russell heard it too. It sounded like somebody going, like, squeak, 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 squeak. I'm like, what the fuck? Losing my mind. Anyhow. But, I mean, we might downsize into a tiny house. Or, like, 600 square feet of something. You know, we might try to get a cheap piece of property somewhere else that's not here. And put a tiny house on it if we can, or, you know, the fuck is the noise? Is it a hawk? Blue jay?
Oh my fucking god.
What?
Remember how I commented that there's hawks in the area nowadays?
Yeah.
That's the sound of the hawk having a flight.
Hawk fight?
Flight. It went for a fly. It made that noise the entire way.
Oh my.
Yeah, so get used to that sound.
Oh god. It was starting to sound like it was murdering something.
Yeah, or injured. That was my assumption.
Right. We have birds of prey in the area. Which is partially why the dogs aren't allowed out by themselves. Like, we have, like, big-ass turkey buzzards and, or turkey vultures, whatever the fuck they are. And, all kinds of hawks and shit. And so, anyway, we might end up selling this place and taking that money and putting it into a piece of property somewhere else. There was talk of us potentially traveling for a little bit. But I don't know, because we were talking about maybe getting a small camper, like, just to sleep in, and then tow around in that so we didn't have to spend money on hotels. But those guys are really expensive. And I don't know how well they retain their value. And then we might have to get a different car anyway, because I don't necessarily think our vehicle could tow something like that. So we just have, like, a regular sedan. We don't have an SUV or anything. And then there was talk of, well, we could always get a tent and some air mattresses that were of decent quality and camp. And I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that. And I was like, you couldn't sleep on the last air mattress we got. And he's like, yeah, but that had a hole in it. And I'm like, no, it really didn't. But I don't know. Don't know. think I need to do a little something in here. Maybe. I don't know. We could always cover up that with a tree down in here. So I'm kind of taking this across further and just re-stabbing everything over in here, just to try to get us a bit smoothed out here. But I think we've hit a good pause point for today, because I have to go and make my mom dinner, because if we don't feed her, she's probably not going to eat anything sensible. So, alright, I'm just trying to make sure that we've got our, I'm okay with it being a little over the line. I just don't want it to be under the line, because that'll be more trouble. So tomorrow, this is what the plan is. We're gonna try to finish up this section. We'll take a little bit more of our yellow ochre color and wisp it a little bit, like really like make it airy and stuff, and bring it up a little bit into the base of the tree line here. And then we're gonna come back in with our other trees that are gonna be a little bit closer and down here near the water line. And then I'm going to take a little bit of darker brown and just kind of line out around the bottom here. And, you know, we'll see how that does. And then, you know, we'll see about maybe putting in our water line around in here, maybe getting the water line in here, and then we'll, if we have time, we'll figure out this mess over here. Because I think I have got another bit of land that's supposed to get filled in here, and some more of maybe this color tree. It's been a while since I watched the tutorial in full, but that is, let's look at this flat for a second. That is where, well, as flat as we can be. This is where we're at so far. So it's not terrible. We're getting there. We're getting somewhere. These trees are a little bit more of on an angle than I wanted them to be, but that's fine. It probably won't look quite so strange once we get the rest of them laid in there. But, you know, it is what it is. And that's where we're at. So tomorrow we're going to try to start around 2 Central in the afternoon. Because things and stuff. And time change and all, and I'm probably gonna have to be making my mom dinner for the foreseeable future. But that's where things stand right now. So guys, I don't know if anybody I know is streaming right now. Let me see if anybody's on my list. Not really. At least not anybody that I feel comfortable taking you to. Let me double check my other list, because sometimes not everybody shows up. And yeah, no, so we're just gonna call it there. And yeah, so I will see you all tomorrow. Don't forget to follow all the socially do's down below. And until next time, you guys have a good one.